And welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in Songs of Six. We're continuing where we left off last in that city. Oh, actually, that infertile area is like perfect for building housing on, so we're going to be expanding out in that direction. We've got to decide exactly what we want to get started with here at the beginning of the stream. I think we're going to make that road a little wider, get the road under construction, and get more warehouse in construction. Okay, and then let's activate these jobs. The road under construction, get that bridge made. And I think we're going to put a warehouse here. So in the logistics, one big warehouse. This is going to basically be sort of like the central warehouse for most of our goods early on here. Getting interrupted as one of our neighbors decides we need some war beasts, and more money. Be very honored if your excellency would accept this humble gift. Okay. Oops, that deleted more of the building than I wanted to do. I'm gonna do sort of double doors. This is a big warehouse. This, even without upgrade, stores 4,000 items. But what we're gonna basically be using it for mostly is sort of variety storage. It's gonna be the fallback storage for like everything. And I suppose if I've got a warhorses to pasture, that might make me tempted to try to build an actual warhouse pasture. Or beast pasture. Again, doesn't need to be very big. Yeah, I think that should work. Get some more beast going. Again, we'll probably just be exporting it. It's not a super important thing for local consumption, but getting some basic exports on some stuff going so we've got money to play around with for buying things we need for imports. It's not a bad plan. And honestly, I do have housing and food production for another 10 people, so let's actually just let another 10 people in. Let's go up to 60. Gives us another 10 odd jobbers to work various jobs, which is mostly building the roads. We've got a lot of road to build. be a little low on wood. It might be time to chop a little more. No, actually, still got a bunch out in the field. It's not low on wood. Gotta give the construction workers the time to do their construction and move the supplies around. Okay, there's our road. At this point in the city, not particularly impressive looking, but it's a road. There we go. So, theory, is that really only taking one war beast? I guess we must be that bad at war beasts. Okay. Yeah, I think that's only going to take one war beast. I might want to expand that if it's only going to be taking one war beast. Oh, what was that message? Subject yours has become sick. Okay, so we got one random sick person. I think we had distributed some war beast. Whether it arrived or if it might have spoiled pretty quickly because it wasn't didn't have anywhere to keep it, right? War beasts are down here. Yeah, it should have lasted some period of time. Okay, so this warehouse, which we'll put on auto, is going to be sort of the home of all the forgotten stuff. That's the reason we have a bunch of crates. Okay, so if we put all the crates there so we can get a basic understanding if we've got stuff that would be in storage. The next thing I probably want more storage of is our primary foods. So we'll put an extra couple of fish and meat there. Extra couple of stone and wood, so we got an idea how the building materials are going. And then the other resource we're already producing, but we don't really have any storage for, is fibers. We'll put extra fiber there. So that's those crates assigned. And then I think we're going to go for another housing block in preparation for letting more people in. Yeah, obviously our skill is terrible. We've got no adult war beasts. Where's the skill? I'm confused. Anyway, I think we were wanting to expand this war beast pasture. Because for whatever reason it holds one, which That's breaking my believability about how many animals we've got stored there, because it's storing one poor beast. Yeah, let's do a refurbish. Refurbish the room. Just gonna make it much bigger. Yeah, I think that'll be a little bit better. Oops. And obviously we need to make sure it has enough hut. There we go. Okay, now we're running a little low on wood. Let's do some fell trees. Yeah, this will be enough housing for another 60 people, so then we just need to sort out food for another 60 people. And then we can have another 60 people come in, and then we'll work on improving some services. In particular, we'll go bigger hearth, bigger well. This is a cold climate, so we're probably going to need more hearth than we're going to need well. You can see where the fisheries are because it stays unfrozen during the winter where we got fisheries. I'm going to turn the speed down. I'm going to put planning mode back on and we start debating how we want to shape our services. So we're thinking we're going to go full hearth, so a nice big hearth over here across the road. We're going to want a max size well. A nice big well. Doing our 3 for the shrine. So we do a nice big shrine. Probably a speaker just to round out and services area. I mean, obviously, our guys don't do procreation, so we don't have to worry about that. And at some point, we might do some pumping. I'm not sure if there's enough... Yeah, you want more hydration, so we're gonna have to run some more water past the Onyx Pasture, which is... Well, it's fine if it gets too much water. It's not it's a problem if it doesn't have enough, right? The pasture is fine. The rest could do with more water. Activate those services. Anyway, we're gonna do a 3 this time. This way we can get trying to interact with the Cantor Havens and let some Cantors into the town. Am I low on wood again? No, they still got wood to chop down. They just haven't chopped it down yet. And then once we have these services set up, we'll start sorting out some exports. Although I could actually spend what I'm thinking about exporting. In fact, that's what we will do. Since we have this, the war beast pasture filled with animals, is I'll start looking to see if we can set up some trade deals. Sort of giving away the things I would otherwise be selling. Get those deals going. So we got a hearth going, we got the speaker going, shrine and well. Okay. And the pasture has all its tamers. We'll give them a little bit of time to bring the 5 animals in, and then we'll use them as barter fodder for setting up our 3 trade deals. Probably do with another 10 people. I think we're making enough food that we can definitely accept another 10 in without any problems. We'll go up to 70 for the moment. Nine adults. This is the sort of productivity rating from 9 of these. So you can tell this is maybe not very good for feeding our people, because 3 workers is making 2 food. Although that's enough to feed 4 people. So they feed themselves doing that job. The main thing they're making is fiber, which we will need for making clothes later. Okay, all 5 animals have been delivered. Go onto the world map. So we've got the duchy in Jahardra. So how much would it cost for you to want to do trade? 17k. In theory, I have that in raw money, but we're not going to start with raw money. Say I give you 25 war beasts. 200 grain, 40 fiber, and 69 things of beer. And then 708, that number? Yeah, that number of money. Oh, I get some money back because I can hit barter. Cool. So there we go. So we got a trade and deal with them. We go look at the other big one. They want 15k. I suppose arguably I don't actually have very much to trade them at this point. Basically trade away most of the valuable stuff. At least until the grain harvest comes in during the next fall. So we'll be happy with just the 1 trade deal for the moment. Well, unless I want to trade away stone. What's the stone price going for? Like nothing. 7. It's a little bit better at 8. We trade you. If we're saying we're trading you these things, I don't think this is a good idea, but let's say we are. Yeah, get that down to 11.7k, which isn't quite enough. Fair enough. That's what I was expecting. I realized we'd spent most of the stuff that has value. Dropping down trees. Again, expanding food production, right? I think we're positive on hunters, so the hunters are so productive, right? So the hunters feed 45 people. Fishermen, we've got 11 fishermen that feed about 33 people, so 78 plus 4, so we can feed 82 people, let's say, with our current food production, if we don't use the grain, right? That's good, that works, but that's a little close to the population we're going to be up to very soon. So we want to continue expanding food production. I think, again, the thing to do right now is going to be expanding the fishery. I'm going to sort of put a little river bridge out across like so. And we're going to basically expand the fisheries. Aquaculture fishery. I'll clear up a little bit of land when we're done. It's in the fishery. Okay. Don't quite want to go out that far, because I can't get to that land. That's fine. So we're doing something like that. I don't think we need this portion of land, so we can give it back to the land. Or that portion. We're going to need a storage. We'll put it down closer to our existing storages, which are down here. And we need a decent size auxiliary. Oh, that one almost does everything. So yeah, we definitely don't need that much land. Well, a bunch of the land back. Like so. That's enough fishing spots for another 8 fishermen. Again, that'll be like 24 more people. That's a good start. Let's get that built. Oh, I guess, yeah, we have a lot of grain. Okay, so let's potentially look into getting another trade deal going using the grain. And apparently the booze, because I've got a lot of booze as well. Okay, trade deal, that's what we're looking for. We're willing to give you booze. 67 things of booze. Most of the stockpiled grain, so we'll say 200 grain. A big hunk of our stockpiled wood and stone. Okay, and then we want to barter using money to cover the rest. And there we go. Another trade deal, a little bit more trade. The last person's the smallest. He's also the one that wants the least. In fact, we can just do that with just money, so let's do that. Oh, a little bit of grain as well. Cool. Okay. So we're going ahead and establish trade relations with all our neighbors. We'll wait for everything. We'll wait for the stockpiles, everything to crash and sort of regenerate before we actually think about setting up export deals. We will do it for certain things. Like, do we need these war beasts? And the answer is no. We don't need that many war beasts. Well, actually, we don't need a full stockpile of war beasts. Right? That's a storing of 80. We might want like 20. Right? And then we can have like 20 guys riding around on horseback. War beast back. Okay, so we've got our people in that fishery. I think with that we can happily go up to 120 people. So we can let a lot of people in if they're willingly come in. There we go. There's the access to our laboratories. So we can now actually develop more innovation if we need it. And we can also use that to pick up various things that we probably want to pick up fairly early on. For example, paving the roads. Might be a little early to pave the roads. We could go make sure if weapons and get spears going again. Yeah, I could go make sure weapons make spears going again. Could improve the hunters. That would be reasonably cost effective, but not what I think I'm looking for right now. And we can also again open up mine types, farm types. Apparently, I have enough to pick up the library if we really want to go for early innovation stuff. But yeah, I think we go burial entertainment. Although, I think we'll hold off for a smidge. What is our current fulfillment? Yeah, we're fulfilling twice as much as the current expectation, so that's a good place to be. Okay, as we let more people in, we're going to probably look to expand food production out the island here. I see no reason not to make this fairly simple early on. We'll just say, hey, everything on the island, start with that. We're going to need some storage. We are out on the island, so we'll make the storage fairly big. They got a decent distance they have to travel to get this back to the island, or back to the warehouses. And the auxiliaries don't have to be particularly close. Okay, and then we can free up the bunch of the interior of this island for potentially other tasks. For example, this might be an interesting place to sort of like shove a graveyard. Shove a graveyard on the island. Sure, let's think about doing that. Yeah, that'll employ another 12 fishermen. Again, providing plenty of food. And we can check to make sure we got adequate cover in the janitor, and we do. We don't have all the way up to the mines, so we are going to have to put another one probably on the island here when we cut across the river. So we have one to work the mines. We got up to 120 people pretty quickly. What do I need to upgrade the warehouses? Furniture. So that's maybe something I might want to slip into next, is furniture production. Maybe work down here on the alluvial. Again, trying to leave the rich soil free. And build like a housing district. Because yeah, we got lots of alluvial on this map. We're not as picky for the alluvial as we is for the farmland. A little bit till, a little bit rich over there. Yeah, and probably get some early carpentry going. Or the other alternative, is this still till over here? This is still till over here. It's a little bit rich. But I think that's kind of the edge. Yeah, that's kind of the edge. Okay, so this area is probably fine for industry. Okay, so part of the reason is I want to be able to store more food without having to build more warehouses. So I want to build up the furniture both for the toilets and for warehouse expansions. So we want a big hunk of furniture production. That is crafting, carpenter. And I'm thinking going big. Let's go big. Again, we're right across the road from the warehouse, so tiny little storage I think will work. And then really big. Workstations I think will work for us. Yeah, 40. Now, the problem I'm going to run into, which I just realized, is I didn't leave any space for the auxiliaries. Isn't any auxiliary space? Says the auxiliaries don't have to be super accessible. Okay, so that'll support the building adequately. Auxiliaries, then. Or do I want better walkability than that? I think I probably want better walkability than that for the work sites. Yeah, so that spot wouldn't be too bad, because... Yeah, that spot wouldn't be too bad. Actually, arguably, let's say we want those squares walkable. That means I want to actually put the peg on that side, let's say. Okay. Then, for the auxiliary station, these only need one accessible square. Oh, and in fact, I've already put enough in there for maximum efficiency. Yeah, I don't need that wide then. Yeah, I'm thinking we don't need that wide. This whole building, like, one row narrower. Which maybe means we don't need the supports. Okay, I don't need many supports. Okay, I think that works. It's not super efficient for space, but it's reasonably walkable. And should provide us with 40 employees worth of carpentry. Needless to say, I might need more, you know, wood. Let's have a little bit more fell tree commands. Oh, you don't actually have coverage out to that far. Okay. So yeah, this will probably want to be another housing district down here. Which will want its own amenity block, but we'll start off by building more housing. And yeah, if I want more forestry down here, all we just got to do is run the a canal down to put more forestry in. And you could do with more moisture, you could do with more moisture, so there's an argument to be getting a pump in fairly soon. I'm short on stone. That should be easy enough to sort. Let's just put some clear rock commands in. At some point we'll be overflowing from it when we start carving into the mountain for more space. Because I'm thinking this is going to be like 5 housing blocks, sort of in a U shape like this. So this is going to get carved into the housing. Okay, all the wood and stone has been delivered. At some point, we'll be wanting to swap a lot of these buildings over from stone to, or from wooden construction to stone construction. Right? Our people prefer. We go to environment. I believe our people prefer stone buildings. Oh, particularly the grand stone buildings. So the question is, do I? Right? If we're going to be outside, they prefer it be stone. They tolerate wood. It's better than the mud, right? We've gone up a step by putting them in mud. Or taking them out of mud and putting them in proper wooden structures. But they'd like it to be made of stone, not straight up full-on mountain. And then double checking. We're gonna have enough food for the next expansion. 31 times 3 is 93. The hunter's feeding. Well, actually, the hunter's feeding. Although I think we're having a good day right now, aren't we? Oh no, it's not that lucky. It's only like 20% over normal. But right now, the hunter's feeding 90 people, right? So it's 90 plus 90, 180. Definitely put another 60 people in. Once this is built, and this is built. Okay. So let's ask for another 60 people to move in. Okay, we should be getting a nice load of furniture. Our people are better at furniture, 20% better than normal. So we can crank out a whole bunch of furniture here. Yeah, it's a half of furniture per person, but times 40 people is a lot of furniture. At some point, we'll probably be wanting to build like shields and or spears. But we'll probably actually build a smaller one of these for that. And although I suppose we might jump to the makeshift spears. We do spears for when we start doing army stuff. Yeah, people are moved in. I'm going to want to at least meet the needs of the carpenters with woodcutting. I forget how effective the woodcutters are. Okay, that's what this over here is going to be. $18 workers providing 36. Oh, I forgot, we don't have any efficiency on there, so it's underperforming a little bit right now. 56. 56 times 2 is going to be 112. 112 would meet the requirements of the carpenters, so that's something like that. Oops. Before I get too carried away with that, I want to get a pump in there. Yeah, I put it on top of where I want the pump. I want the pump like there. Okay, let's do a quick refurbish. Yes, 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 yes. Actually, better idea. Get ready for the moment. Planning mode. Water pump. Yeah, something like that is what we're going to plan. And now we can use this space for woodcutting without it being in the way of other future plans. Okay, that works pretty well. Such a large warehouse. I'll do a little bit bigger than it was last time. Like so. And that one will activate. The path I'm planning here involves some culverts, so we're going to want to sort out metal before we do that plumbing. But we'll still have to chop down trees every once in a while to expand construction if we're building in wood. Although I might move away from building in wood. We do have enough furniture. Let's upgrade the main warehouse. So we got a whole bunch more storage. And if I have enough, we'll do the secondary one as well. Or the original one. Yeah. There we go. Again, furniture, we're mass-producing furniture, so I might even go ahead and set up a furniture export depot so we can begin exporting of it. Yeah, that's 26 jobs. That's why I built this neighborhood down here. This is going to be sort of our lumber industry as we, if we need to continue expanding the lumber industry. That actually might be enough for quite a while. All right, we're running a slight deficit, which is fine, because everyone's trying to clear trees and stuff out of our way. Okay, let's think about building into the mountain here. Can I do a copy and paste? It's not going to, like, magically break everything. So what I want to do is copy you. To that location, and it didn't appreciate that from a copy paste. Okay. Although it did recognize, hey, I need to cut out that portion for the food stall. It just didn't like the road work. Okay. Dig into mountain. I need to cut that bit out of the mountain. That bit of the mountain. Okay, so we got an idea of what we need to cut into the mountain for, at least. Like so. And I need to activate those jobs. Well, activate some of those jobs. I might leave the food stall doesn't necessarily need to be there until we've actually cut into the mountain and got the housing built. Okay, so they've cut into the mountain there. Can I put the houses where I want them, given that's the case? No, I gotta cut it a little bit deeper. Gotta basically cut where they're... Yeah, I'm gonna cut where the door would go. As well. See if that works. And again, this should be, because we're chopping a big hunk of the mountain here, this should be generating a decent amount of stone. Although it's non-renewable, right? This is much like gathering surface stone, where when it's done, it's done. Okay, yeah, so if we've carved into the mountain like so, we can get it working. Oh, I need to activate them if I want them to happen. I'm waiting for them to happen, and they're not happening because I have planning on, so they're planned, not completed. 108 wood coming out of there, so good chunk of wood. Which, again, yeah, offsets most of our upkeep from our massive carpenter. Provides us with adequate amounts of furniture. 25 furniture a day. Let's go ahead. Let's set up our first export, which is going to be exporting some furniture. Or passive export, which is exporting some furniture. So export depot doesn't need to be too big. In fact, I think this is eventually at some point going to be road, but we'll just sort of plop it in the road for the moment. No, and I've got planning still on. Let's turn planning off and just activate the job. Okay, so we've got housing for another 60 people. We're ready for them to come in. Okay. We're going to turn prioritize off on you. We're going to have you export furniture. We're going to not pick up from the ground, only pull from the source, and only pull from the source. The source is like half full. So there's 150 furniture in that location. Feel free to export the rest. That's what we're going to do. And don't export if furniture is below 100, let's say. Not that I'm thinking is planning on going to fall anytime soon. Services. What other services can I easily provide? Now that we've got furniture... Well, if we were distributing furniture, markets would be good. Now that we got furniture, the next thing I think that makes sense to do is probably the toilets. Do a laboratory. And then we have some innovation, so we could also pick up some services. We could pick up the entertainment, we could pick up power up a burial. Yeah, entertainment and proper burial is probably what I pick up. Sort of to preemptively produce some more services, some nice cheap services. Oh, we don't even have enough people yet for the fight pit. Could also pick up library, but I think we do burial stage. I'm thinking that's what this bit in here is going to be. Yeah, I'm going to commit to picking up proper barrel and stage. Don't think we need that yet from an expectation standpoint. Oh no, we're starting to get actually pretty close to our expectations of the fulfillment. So yeah, it's time to build some more services. Which means it's time to have... Well, time to give our people an appropriate place to do their business. Laboratory. I'm probably making this way bigger than it needs to be, because I can. So this will employ 4 people, provide 133 services. I don't know how frequently our people need to use the service, but probably not that frequently. Put doors on it in all the places? Okay. So there is a laboratory. And we've got entertainment, we got stage. Okay, so it's just different orientations of it. You know, that orientation actually works well for me. We'll do that orientation. We did square last time. We'll do rectangle this time. And then well, I'm gonna want a graveyard. I think this is gonna be a decent place for a graveyard. No, not mass graveyard. We're doing a proper graveyard this time. Start off something. Again, this is hopefully too big. Now the question is, can I get enough? Probably overbuilt this. Probably only need and then probably what I'll have to do to fix it, I'll probably have to make it little. Yeah, not enough respect. I need to make it a little smaller. Let's go for one employee worth of graves. Yeah, the tree... If I can get the trees in there, the trees are a little bit effective. A little bit too effective. Put more graves in. Still make that work. Now I'm not going to have respect in there. Are people wanting to have respect graves? Might be a little complicated if I'm trying to fit it in that patch. If I sort of made it not bound by road network, I could probably make it the size I want it. Start over. Okay, the answer is I'm trying to get it too dense to fit in that. Trying to either make it too big or too small. It's kind of where I'm getting my problem there. Mass grave. Afterlife graveyard. Yeah, I still think we want it there. Just obviously doesn't need to be that big. Okay, so I'm going over the respect limit here, but that's fine. This is just sort of make it decorative and symmetrical at this point. There we go. And again, that should provide basically 3 full new services for our people. Which should allow us have a significantly more expansion. The population while keeping them nice and happy. Because that should help with laboratories, as they now have a place to go. So you should get a third of that bonus, so a whole point there. A third of the stage bonus, or a whole point there. I'm surprised we're getting 45% off the hearts, but that's fine, I suppose. And then down in religion, that should be enough graveyards for them for the moment. They get 100% off the graveyards. Respect is gained by furnishing your rooms properly. 100% access, 100% respect. They will be much obliged by the availability of the graves for the graveyard. We'll have to watch that because I could definitely imagine we fill up 20 graves if something goes horribly wrong. And we got housing for 60. We're going to keep working up to the north there, but I think it is, once again, time for a part break. So if you're watching on YouTube, we'll have another part up tomorrow as this Dondorian city grows. I think we're going to need to get more fishing going. I think we're at about the point where we need food to go with the expansion again. But that's easy enough to do. We just slap down some more fishing fields, more fisheries, as we expand up to the northeast. Again, we've got coal, big patch of coal there, big patch of coal there, and ore. I think what we're going to try to do, we've set furniture up for exports because I set up a really strong furniture production line, which is more than we need, but basically we're going to sell the export, the extra in the short run. The next thing we'll probably try to do, I'm going to try to get into metal and tools. Again, our guys sort of specialize in exporting, or in refining. So yeah, we're gonna mine. They're dwarfish-like, right? We're gonna mine coal. We're gonna mine iron ore. We're gonna smelt that into bars. We're gonna take the bars, turn those into tools. And unlike last one where we're just going sort of for raw tech bonuses, I'm a little bit tempted to try to go for the tool cutting modifiers instead. So supply tools get a bonus. Because we'll be making our own tools, that should be pretty reasonable to do. Alright, so we pick up smithy. I think there's... one of the techs in here is tools. Applied. Fine crafting tools, yeah. So we have 130 workshop employees. All those industries can get tools applied to them. So on and so forth. So that's those tools. Over... There's crude crafting tools. So that's the crafting tools to be applied to the carpenter. We're not there yet on that being profitable, right? That would really need... We need carpentry so large that the +1 bonus on the carpentry after you add the tools is worth it. But yeah, so tools for all the fine crafts. We're definitely on board with just making most of the fine crafts. We're not going to bother with bowyers, but smiths, paper, masonry, jewelry. We obviously want to get to the point where we're mining the jewelry components first, but tools in the mines wouldn't necessarily be too bad. Although, again, you got to have enough to make it worthwhile. We'll see if we can actually get to the point where we can make it worthwhile. And yeah, we'll try to export refined goods. Export refined goods, import the non-refined goods. And then build up services. Our people, though, are a little bit more picky than Mivians are at their services. We will need to provide all of them. We'll need to provide fighting pits, and the Grand Arena this time. Although, for our guys, we might also try to use that partially as part of their punishment. Might try, instead of jailing our people, we might have a little bit more intervention with government punishment. Our guys do like imprisonments. Ah, okay, so our people dislike executions. We can't just execute everyone. They dislike arenas. They dislike having people die in the arena. Our guys do appreciate some degree of exile. So we'll be in this sort of awkward position where our people want to be stalked, judged, imprisoned, and exiled, but from the perspective of punishment effectiveness, executions and arena deaths are actually the better punishment. So we'll have to be a little bit careful with that balance, but yeah, we're maybe not too far off from thinking about law and order. In fact, if I had knowledge, I don't right now. If I had knowledge, we probably would be at the point where we should be picking up guard posts. The next title at 200 gives us 10 knowledge. I think 4 that's going to go into guards right away. 4 that's going to go into guards. We're going to get guards set up, the tier 1 guard set up, so we can get some law and order from that. And then I think for an early punishment, yeah, we might do guards. Probably guards into Bloodsport. We probably will have some of them just executed in the Bloodsports. Hope to take the benefit from Bloodsport offsetting the malice of them not liking executions. Because yeah, people die in the arena is -1, although from a law standpoint, it is better deterrence, right? It's 300% deterrence versus stocks, which we won't have any of at the, or imprisoning, which we won't have any at the beginning, execution won't have any at the beginning. It's more effective than exile, right? So we probably want some of them to be executed effectively, and then the rest are probably going to get sent to exile. So some balance there early on. But yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, we'll have another part up tomorrow. I need to stop rambling about future plans and instead save those for the future. If you're watching on Twitch, this is where we're going to put the midstream tea break, where I go get a new cup of tea. So this will be the longer of the 3 breaks during the stream. So until the next bit, I'm going to wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part and or stream, and bye for now.